Good morning, folks. We know it's fall now. I can hear the geese in the background flying south. And this is what the garden looks like after a couple good freezes. Our tomato plants have been killed off with the freezing we've had going on here the last week or so. We've got down to, I think our lowest was like 27 degrees, but that'll do it. So our tomatoes are looking pretty sad. They're starting to shrivel up. So we need to get out here and start saving these seeds. So we've identified 4 varieties. If you remember, we planted like 19 different varieties out here this year. So we've identified 4 that we want to continue growing out here in Nebraska. And that's the Better Boy, the Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes, the Celebrity, and the San Marzano paste tomato. Those all did really well, and that's all we need to grow next year. In fact, we'll probably still have more than we need next year. But this is a good time to start doing it. As you can see, the tomatoes are starting to wilt. They're not rotten yet, but they're starting to shrivel up. So it's a good time to get out here and get these tomatoes going. So I'll just get in here and pick a couple of these tomatoes, probably be 1 per variety, except for the San Marzanos and the cherries. We'll probably need a few to get a significant number of seeds. But we'll cut an X on the bottom of the tomato, and then we'll just squeeze all the juice and the pulp and the seeds out. I've got some little mason jars ready to put them in, and I've got my jars labeled. Always make sure you label your stuff as you go along so you don't lose track of what you're saving. The rest of the vegetables that were out here, we've already saved seeds from those as we've harvested them. We've done the peppers already, and we've done the squash and the winter squash and stuff like that. Let me show you the winter squash over here. They're still fine after the freeze out here. So if we wanted, we've already got a bunch of these. We got a root cellar full of these. But these butternut squash will still be okay as long as you don't leave them out here too much longer. You can see the birds and the animals have been getting to them, so you got to catch them before that, obviously. But like these here are fine, but like that one over there has had the birds pecking at it already. But like I said, we've got everything we need out of here already. So we're going to get these tomatoes picked, and we'll get them inside and we'll start processing them. Okay, we got our tomato seeds, all the tomatoes picked, and got the seeds and the pulp out of all the tomatoes we're going to save. And we'll show you what we're doing here. So these are the 4 varieties here. I've already got these squeezed out, rinsed, and put back in the jar, and I've filled the water about 3/4 full in the jar to let them sit. This one's been rinsed, but it's not had the water put in the jar yet. This one here, we haven't rinsed it yet. We've just got the tomato juice out of it. We still got some pulp left in here. And then this one's fresh out of the tomato here. Still got all the juice and everything. So the next step for this one, we'll put this under a water spray here in the sink. I usually use the little sprayer handle. And that gets most of that pulp out of there, but I'll run my finger around in there a little bit and liberate some of the seeds from the red pulpy stuff. But it's still going to look like this when you're done. So that red stuff around the tomato seeds, it's like a little sack around all the seeds. And that protects the seeds from the digestive process of animals, because usually, in the wild or before we started cultivating tomatoes, animals would eat these fruit off of the vines. The seeds are genetically on their own designed to go through the digestive tract, come out the other end in a big pile of fertilizer, and it sprouts on its own. So we're going to stimulate the seed going through the digestive tract of an animal by letting these jars ferment. So after we rinse everything out, put water back in the jar. I usually use lukewarm water to kind of get the process going. And these will kind of ferment in the jar. It'll take 4 or 5 days, maybe up to a week, depending on the temperature. But you'll see those seeds, all that red goo will separate from the seeds and float to the top of the jar. And what's left on the bottom is just pure clean seeds. And that's what you're looking for. Once you do that, you can take the jar and pour all that goo off the top of the jar. And in the bottom of the jar, it should be clean seeds. So you just drain the water, strain them out, or do whatever you want to do. And then lay them out on a paper towel. Or I like a paper plate because it's got kind of a waxy surface and doesn't allow the seeds to stick. Paper towel, sometimes the seeds will stick and you got to work a little bit. But you dry them seeds out real well, let them sit for a week or two out of the way on that paper plate. Make sure you write on the paper plate the variety so you don't lose track of what you're doing. And then when those are nice and dry, put them in your little packets or little seed bags or whatever you got for them. We even got the little silica packs to go in them to make sure they stay dry. And we put them in our seed container for next year. Make sure you mark the package. And you have your seeds for next year. It's a sustainable thing to do. You never know when seeds aren't going to be available to store. And why go buy them when you can just save them? Make sure you have an open pollinated variety that's not a hybrid where you're going to get something different when the plant comes up the next year. Make sure you're able to do this. But even if you do that, even if you get a plant that's not open pollinated, you're still going to get tomatoes. You're not going to get the same kind of tomatoes, but they still might be good. Maybe you make your own variety. Maybe they've cross-pollinated with something else, and you can keep saving those every year that you've pollinated yourself and created your own variety. So this is the time of year to save the seeds, folks. Make sure you get out there and do it. Like with your winter squash, you save those as you prepare those when you clean them out when you're cooking them. But we've already got our seeds from all of our other stuff that we've harvested through the year. This is just the tail end of the seed saving. So make sure you get that done. Short little video here, but just wanted to make sure you're getting out there and doing this stuff. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. See you next time here on Mark Kelly Farms. Come back and see us.